Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Today we are going to discuss the new topic, which is left on yesterday. That is about the bus systems and the common bus system in the computers. So let us start our section today. And so in the today's agenda, we are going to discuss once again
Ramaya, your
the
voice
last
is
topic.
not audible. Ramaya, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Ramaya.
So in the today's agenda, we are going to discuss about the previous topic already discussed in the yesterday's section. That is about bus system and what are different types of buses we are having, and what are the different designs in the bus system. So let us go to the previous topic already discussed in the yesterday's class. So what is
Am I
called
audible to you?
a bus or a bus system? In general, we can say that the connectivity between the different hardwares which are involved in a computer system can be called as our bus. So as we know that to transfer the data from one place to other place, we want to have some medium.
నేను కాల్ చేస్తాను సార్
Okay. Hello, sir.
వాయిస్ ఈస్ ఆడిబుల్
So we can say that system bus is required in order to maintain the transmission of data from one place to other place in the computer. So already we have seen what are different types of buses we are having. That is one is address bus, control bus, and data bus. So address bus are used to transfer the address from one region to other regions, which are required for. So we are having the control buses. Control buses are used to transfer the control information. We can say that timing and controls which are generated from the control unit of the CPU. And we are having the data bus. Data buses are used to transfer the data from one region to other regions. And already we have seen about two types of buses. One is a single bus structure and double bus structure. In the single bus structure, there is a one common bus, so which is attached to all the components, all the hardware components inside our computer. So simply this bus is attached to all the physical components which are connected in our computer, and the data address and controls are transferred within the common bus. And coming to the double bus structure, and already we have discussed, there are two buses here. One bus is fixed for the peripheral components, which are say that input and output components, and other bus is used for the memory transferring between the processor and the our main memory. So these two buses are having the high speed performance as well as high capability ratio in order to maintain all the devices in the equal performance performanceable in the process executions. And we have seen the basic concept in the yesterday's class, that is how to design a bus system for our general purpose registers. So we are taking the general purpose registers in our control function of our computer. So there we are having R0 to R1, R2, R3, so on, Rn minus 1. There are n general purpose registers we are having. So in order to connect these registers with the CPU, we want to design a common bus system for these registers. So let's once again we will discuss about this topic which is discussed in the earlier class. So this is the structure of a common bus system for the basic registers, or we can call it as a general purpose registers. So everyone has idea about this structure, which is discussed in the earlier class. Once again, I'm repeating. So many people are not having the 100% clarity in it. Once again, I'm repeating this concept. So this is a structure which is used to develop, which is used to get the data from our registers to the CPU as well as from CPU to the register. So here I'm using the multiplexer technology or multiplexer concept. So what is the task of multiplexer? So the task of the multiplexer is to take number of inputs and generate only one output based upon the selection line which is going to select. So let us take here, we are having the multiplexers here. So these multiplexers are, there are 4 multiplexers I am using. So these 4 multiplexers are connected with the specific registers with their specific bit value. So from the register A, let it be the first register. From this register, the fourth bit, that is A4, the fourth bit is connected to the fourth multiplexer, that is called MUX3. And similarly, in the way in all the fourth bits of the registers are connected to this multiplexer 3. And similarly, the third bits of the registers are connected to the multiplexer 2, and the first bits of the registers are connected to the MUX1, and the zeroth bits are connected to the MUX0. So MUX in the sense multiplexer. So, and all these multiplexers are connected with the common selection lines S1 and S0. So with the help of this S1 and S0, we are going to select particular input value from the multiplexer, and we can pass that output to the output lines, which are nothing but a common bus system. So here we are having the 4 bus lines. So 4 lines, which is called a 4-bit line. So these 4-bit lines are connected to the CPU in order to get the data from these registers. And how to select the data from the particular register. So already I have explained in the last class. Once again, I'm going to it. So the task of a multiplexer is to take the specific input and generate the output based upon the selection line. And let us see how a 4-into-1 multiplexer will work. So I will show with a small example of how a multiplexer works. So basically, we can say that let it be our 4-into-1 multiplexer. This is a small example of 4-into-1 multiplexer. So a 4-into-1 multiplexer has 4 inputs and 1 output. Let the inputs be D0, D1, D2, D3, and output be the Y. And we're having the selection lines S0 and S1. So what is the use of this selection line? So let us go to the function table of this circuit. So we are having the enable E. So E is the enable input, which is used to enable or disable the multiplexer. If you want to make the multiplexer active or inactive, that is in the working condition or not. If you want to make the device in a working condition, we want to enable the enable input. So E stands for enabling the device. That is called 1 is for enabling, 0 is for disabling. So if the enable input is 0, if you pass any inputs from these selection lines, there is no specific output we can get. That means the multiplexer will work only when it is enabled. That means E equals to 1. So we will pass enable input as 1, and then the selection lines S0 and S1 are 0 and 0. Now what will the output is, if the selection lines are both are 0, that is both are in a inactive mode, the output from the first bit, that is D0, is entered to the output, that is the input from the first bit of the multiplexer will pass as an output to the multiplexer. That is, if S0 and S1 are 0, 0, we will get D0 as an output. Similarly, if the multiplexer is enabled, that is if the E equals to 1 and S0 and S1 are 1 and 0, so we will get the D1 as an output. So this is the way how this multiplexer works. So in the same way, coming to our example, already we have discussed in the last class. So if you want to select a particular register, for example, I want to get the data from the register A to the CPU to this 4-line common bus, to this 4-line common bus from the register A. What I want to do, that means I want to enable this third, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, all these pins, that is A0, A1, A2, A3. I want to get the data from the A0, A1, A2, and A3. So this A0 is connected to the A0 pin of the multiplexer 0, A1 is connected to the A1 pin of the multiplexer 1, A2 is connected to the A2 pin of the multiplexer 2, and A3 is connected to the A3 pin of the multiplexer 3. That means all the first bits, that is why here it is printed by 0. So all the 0 bits of the multiplexers must be getting the inputs. So in order to get this 0th bit as an output, what we want to do? We want to make the selection lines as 0 and 0, as shown in the last previous demo. That is, when both the inputs are 0, when both selection lines are 0, 0, we will get the output from the 0th pin. So in the same way, so we will get the register A as an input for all the multiplexers. That is, all the bit values of the register A will get the inputs to the multiplexers. So now our output, when the selection lines are 0, 0, so we will get the output line from the specific input which are getting from the multiplexer. So what is the output you will get is, when the S1 and S0 are 0, 0, the register A, what is the data in the register A? That is the 4-bit data in the register A must be passed to the bus, and it is transferred to the CPU. It is utilized by the CPU. Now, for example, if I want to store the data from register A to the register B, I want to transfer the data from register A to the register B. It is also one of the operation of the CPU. It is also one of the operation of CPU. So how to transfer the data from register A to the register B? So there is no direct connectivity with the registers. So all these registers are connected with the multiplexers and the common bus. So this common bus, what is displaying in the screen is, this common bus is additionally attached to all the registers as a commonly. That means all these lines will passes to these registers also. So when these registers will be active, or when this will get enabled, is all these registers are maintained with one of the input signal that's called load, LD. So all the registers will be additionally added with one more input signal called load, LD. If when LD equals to 1, the data in the bus will be loaded into that register. Okay, all these registers are connected with this bus, which is drawing here. There are 4 lines here. These 4 lines will pass to the CPU. Along with the CPU, it also passes to the registers. Register A, register B, register C, and register D. Okay, in a circular way. How to get this data from A to B? So when the data is receiving from A to this multiplexer, the 0 bits, the data passes to the multiplexers and reaches to this bus. And from the bus, it again transfers to the register B. Okay, how it is transferring is, in the register B, there is a one more pin called enable pin. Okay, or load. It's called load, LD. LD stands for load. When a load equals to 1, LD equals to 1, automatically the data inside the bus will be transferred to the register. Okay, in that time, all other loads in the registers are 0. All the registers will have a input signal called LD. It's called load. If LD equals to 0, no data is transferred from bus to the register. If LD equals to 1, the data inside the bus will be transferred into the registers. So that is the way how we can transfer the data from one register to other register. Okay, so this is one of the representation of common bus system using the multiplexers. In yesterday's class, I have mentioned that if you want to connect more registers, it is not possible. It is not flexible to use this multiplexer technology, because the multiplexer technology will generate more heat, as well as it also required more circuit implementation. It takes more space, as well as it generates more, it consumes more electricity. So in order to avoid this problem, we are going to design the same circuit with the help of the buffers. That's called a tri-state buffer. So already I have explained what is called a tri-state buffer in the last class. Once again, I'm going to explain it. So before going to that explanation, just see that how a tri-state buffer works. So this is the physical structure of how a tri-state buffer will be. So we are having input A, and there is an output F. Let it be the output F. So the input A and output F are depending upon the selection line. Let it be C. So what is the selection line will have? So if the selection line is 0, that is, it is not in idle mode. So what we'll have is, you will get output as a high impedance. So what is called high impedance, which cannot be defined or which cannot be declared, is called high impedance state. Okay, a circuit, if it does not undergoes any changes, it can be called as a high impedance. Okay, simply it is called as a non-workable state. So whenever if it passes a 0 to this selection line, the input does not reaches to the output. That is, the device is not in an idle mode. It is in an inactive mode. So if any device is in inactive mode, then it can be called as a high impedance state. Okay, so this is the function diagram of the tri-state buffer. If input is 0 and there is no selection line, if the selection line is again 0, so what will happen? So we will get the high impedance. Similarly, if the input is 1, I am taking A as 1, and here are all the C value, that is the input, the selection line value is also 0, and again I will get the high impedance value Z. So Z stands for high impedance. That is not defendable, or not, it can't be definable. Okay, now coming to the other two functions here. If the A value is 0 or 1, whatever it may be, if it is active or inactive, A is 0 or A is 1, if you make the selection line as 1, if the selection line is active, that is equals C equals to 1. If the C equals to 1, what will happen is, whatever the input the device is getting, whatever the input the gate is getting, whatever the input the buffer is getting, this buffer passes the output as the same output as the given input. So now what is the use of the buffers? So till now we have seen, we will get the data, whatever input we are getting to the output. So now what is use of the buffers are, when this input signal is low, if the input signals are low, that is, if the frequency of the inputs are low, the buffers will make available, or the buffers with the help of the selection lines make that input signals in a high standard. Okay, that means we will say that there is some low power or a low current or dim current. If we say that, for example, a system is having some dim currents or a low power supply. So these buffers are used to moderate, or just like act as a modulator to transform that low power to the high power, or a power which is required for executing that operation. Okay, so that is use of the buffers and tri-state buffer. Tri-state buffers are used to make the device active or inactive. Okay, so in the same scenario, so we will see the same operation. We will see the same operation of designing how to design the bus system with the help of the tri-state buffers. So let us see the tri-state buffer here. So here I'm using a four registers. Let it be register A, B, C, and D. So we are taking only one bit from each and every register. Okay. So in the previous example, just like in the previous example, in the register A there are 4 bits. Okay, bit 0, bit 1, bit 2, bit 3. What I am taking here is, I am taking only bit zeros. That is all the 0th bits of the registers. All the 0th bit of the registers are taken here. That means this is the bit 0 of the register A, bit 0 of the register B, bit 0 of the register C, and bit 0 of the register D. So for all the 4 registers, I am taking only 1 bit. Okay. Now that 1 bit is connected to the one of the tri-state buffer. Okay, and I am getting the output. So what is this logic? What is this function will generate is, here am I using a decoder. What is the task of a decoder? What is the task of a decoder? A decoder will decode its value based upon the given inputs. That means if there are n inputs, it can decode 2 power n outputs. That means if I'm getting two inputs as a selection lines, it generates the four output from this given circuit. Okay, so now if a selection lines are 0 0, let it be 0 0. What will happen is the 0th bit of the line, that is the output of the 0, will be active, that it becomes 1. Okay, if S1 and S0 are 0 0, the 0th bit of the decoder becomes 1, and all other bits are zeros, 1 0 0 0. So if you're getting 1 for this line 0th bit, and I'm patterning the 0th bit to the register array of the buffer. So what will happen? As I said, for the buffers, if any one of the input is 1, I will get the same output for the whatever input it is getting. So for the same logic we are using here, if you're getting 1 when the search lines are 0 0 from the decoder, so this buffer will activate as a positive signal, and the data in the A will be transferred to the output line, and all other lines will be 0. All the lines in this all other outputs are zeros, because we are not activating that tri-state buffer. That is, we'll get only zeros from this decoder. So this is the way how to get a bit from the particular register. Okay. So what is the difference between the above structure? In this structure is a multiplexer, and in this structures I am using the tri-state buffers along with the decoder. So if you're using the tri-state buffer, it consumes very less power, as well as it also generates less heat when compared with the multiplexers technology. Okay, this is about how to design a common bus system for the registers. So in the same way, we can construct for the other bits also. So for the first bit, second bit, and third bit also, we will generate the tri-state buffer and get the four output lines. So whatever the register I want to select, I will make that and decoder as an active and inactive. So this is the way how to design a common bus system for the registers. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will go forward for the one more bus system. So till now we have seen two bus systems which are related to the registers, which are related to the our basic register. That's called a general purpose register. Now let us go for a bus system which connects all the other components inside our CPU. Okay. So whatever the components which are residing in the CPU, so are also be connected with the common bus, not only with the peripherals. So I have said in the previous picture. So there are different components, that is input unit, output unit, memory unit, processor, all are connected with the bus. Now what I am saying is, in the processor, in the single processor itself, we are seen that the registers are connected with the common bus. That is, these are the registers which are connected with the common bus. Now we are going to see how all other components in the CPU are connected with the common bus. So this is the picture. So I will show this picture in a other way. So is my screen is visible?
Yes,
Yes,
Ramaya,
sir.
visible. Yes.
Okay. So it is the one of
Ramaya,
the
one more thing is,
yeah.
Ramaya, one more thing is, please delete the person who is in the participant list. He is naming some other extra.
So this is the one of the structure. This is the one of the structure which is already what you have seen in the previous example. That is how to construct a common numbers for the register. So this is the one of the common bus system which is connected with all other registers or other components inside our CPU. So already we have seen what are the different registers or which are used in our CPU. That is address register, program counter, data register, accumulators, instruction register, and temporal registers, and input register and output register. So now let us see how these registers, how these general purpose registers, or how these basic registers are connected with our common bus. So this is a bus structure, so which is visible here. It's a 16-bit common bus. So why it is 16-bit? So I am mentioning here it is a 16-bit common bus. Why? Because, so let us take as a memory here. In our example, I am taking the memory unit as 4096 into 16. So what it means? What is the meaning of that 4096 into 16? So I am using a memory unit. It's called simply call it say RAM. I'm using a RAM, so which is having the capability of storing number of words. The total size of the total size, the number of words a RAM can store is 4096. That is 4096 words totally a RAM can store, and each word is having the 16-bit of information. Okay, so each word is having 16-bit of information. That means 2 bytes. Okay, so in our data lectures or any other concepts, we will divide the data into some segments, some layers, some boxes or some blocks. So that blocks is nothing but 4096. There are 4096 words in our memory system, and each and every word is capable of carrying 16-bit of information. So I am using the 16-bit common bus here. So Now, what is this lines or what is this naming here? There are 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are nothing but, so these are used to make the activate or these are used to activate our registers to connect with our common bus. So with the help of the selection lines which are already been here, with the bus, that is S0, S1, S2. So based upon the selection line, so whatever the register I want to make active that register and send the data to the common bus. Okay, this is one of the best structure which we are using at present in our computer system. How to run our registers with a common bus architecture. Now, for example, if I want to execute any instruction, let the instruction be some 5 into 6. I want to have an instruction. I want to execute an instruction 5 into 6. That is, I want to take a value of 5 and I want to take the value of 6. I want to do the multiplication and I want to get the result. And that result want to be stored into some any other value. So how this process or how this structure is going to execute is, so first of all, we want to understand what are the registers involved here. So AR stands for address register, which is used to store the address. And PC stands for program counter, which are used to identify what is the next instruction is. And DR stands for data register, which is used to store the current data. And AC, that's called accumulator, which are used to perform mathematical operations which are done by the ALU, arithmetic and logic unit. And INPR, input register, which is used to take the data from the input, that is from the keyboards or mouse or input devices. And IR stands for instruction register, which is used to store the current instruction. And TRE stands for temporary register, which are used to store the temporary values which are doing in the operation. And OUTR stands for output register, which are used to store, which are used to send the data to the output devices. Now let us see this. Every register or every set of registers is having three pins. One is called LD. LD stands for load. INR stands for increment. CLR stands for clear. CLR stands for clear. INR for increment. LD for the load. So what is this use of these three pins? Whenever these load pins are used, already I have said in the last example, when a load is active, when LD equals to 1, what will happen is the data inside the bus will transfer to the register. When load equals to 1 in any type of register, we will enable that input to be passed into that register. LD equals to 1, we will pass that input from the common bus to that register. And similarly, INR stands for increment. If you want to increment any address value, for example, let us take a program counter. What I have said in the program counter is the program counter will use to identify what the next instruction is. That is automatically the address want to be increased. That is when the instructions are in a step by step or in a one by one order, we want to increase that address levels or we want to increase that address value. So how to increase that address value, sir? With the help of this INR. INR is used to increment the value which is stored in that register. And CLR. So CLR is nothing but it is used to clear the value in the register. And there is one more common input for all the registers. There are specific input for all the registers except the memory unit. So which is called clock, CLOCK. It is called clock pulse. So what is the need of clock pulse is the clock pulses are used to operate or are used to make the devices which is executable at a single clock time or a single clock interval. So I will say what is the use of it in our example. And one more design or one more structure in this design is adder and logic circuit, which is nothing but ALU. We can name it as an ALU, adder and logic circuit, which is called as an ALU. So the task of the ALU is to do all the arithmetic, logic, and shift operations which are to be done with the help of the processor. And there is a one more component called E. So here E stands for is a flip flop. E is a flip flop, which is also called as a extendable flip flop. Which E stands for extendable flip flop, which are used to store the extended values which are generated whenever any addition or any other carry bits are obtained with the accumulator. Whenever you perform any additions or any other increments operations, there is some possibility of getting some additional bits, add-on bits or additional carry bits you will get whenever we perform the additions or any other operations in the ALU along with the accumulator. So to store that values, to store that additional values, we will use this flip flop. That's called E flip flop, extendable flip flop. And once look here, there is no connectivity with the bus to the INPR, and there is no output connectivity from the OUTR to the bus. Why? Because we cannot connect the bus to the input register. The input register will get the data only from the input devices. Okay, that is from the peripherals or that is from the keyboards and mouse. So we are not connecting this input register with the buses. We are connecting the output of the input register to the arithmetic and logic circuit, that's called ALU. And the output of the output register is not connected to the bus. Why? Because this output register is storing its value into the output buffers of the your peripheral device. That's called output devices. So this is about the structure. Now let us go for example. I want to execute an instruction that's called 5 into 6 is an instruction I want to execute. So how this is going to be executed? Initially, the data is storing in the memory unit. Initially, our entire data will be stored in the memory unit. Not only data, our instructions. All our instructions will be stored in our memory units. Okay. Once it is stored in the memory unit, if you want to read or write, for example, I want to read the data because 5 into 6 equals to 30. Okay. 5 into 6 is a read operation and 30 is the write operation I want to store into the memory. So now I want to do, initially I want to do the read operation. So to make the device in a readable mode, I want to make the read active. Okay, there are two inputs here. There are two signal lines here. One is read and write. The control unit or our processor along with your control unit will send the signal to the memory unit with the help of the read signal. Okay, whenever this memory unit will receive the read signal, READ, automatically all the data inside the memory will be in a active mode to read by the processor. So how it is going to be read? How it is going to be read? Okay, whenever our instruction is going to start, that is 5 into 6 is going to be start, that is the instructions will be start with the help of our program counter. Initially there is no data in the bus. Initially there is no data in the bus. If there is no data in the bus, all the selection lines must be 0, 0, 0. If S0, S1, S2 are 0, 0, 0, there is no data in the bus. The bus is in a idle mode. Okay, it is empty. So already I have said what is 16-bit. Okay, the data, whatever the data we are placing, it's in a 16-bit mode. So I am using a 16-bit bus. And what is the size of the address? I have said in the last section, this bus is having of three types. One is data bus, address bus, and control bus. Already I have said this data bus is having the 16-bit. And what about address bus? So address bus size, what is the size of this address bus is? It's only 12. Why? Because 4096 is nothing but 2 power 12. Number of words the memory can handle is 2 power 12. Here in our example, the total number of words are 2 power 12. So that is only 12 addresses are there. 12 address bits are there for each and every word. So the address line has only 12 bits. Just try to remember. Data bits are 16. Address bits are only 12. Why? Because of the memory size. Okay. Now coming to the address register and the program counter. What is the size of the program counter? The size of the program counter is just like our address bits. Just like our address bits, we are having the size of the program counter. So the size of the program counter is 12. And similarly, the address register is also 12. It can handle only 12 bits. Program counter will handle 12 bits. Address register will handle 12 bits. Why? Because it's depending upon the memory size, 4096. 4096 is nothing but 2 power 12. So it can handle only 12-bit address format. Okay. Now, whenever this program counter is initiated, that is the first instruction in any program, or the program will start with the first instruction with the help of the program counter. The control unit will send the signal to the program counter. What will send is to get the instruction, to load the instruction to the program counter. How to load the instruction to the program counter? The first instruction must be loaded in the program counter. How it is loaded? So first of all, to make that program counter as initiative, what we want to do is we want to make the address register with the available of the address of that instruction. Okay. సో మనకి ఇక్కడ ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ లో నాకు ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ వచ్చి లోడ్ అవ్వాలి. ఆ ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుంది? ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ కి ఒక అడ్రస్ అనేది ఉంటుంది. సో ఆ అడ్రస్ అనేది అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ ద్వారా ఫైండ్ చేస్తాం. సో అది ఎలా ఫైండ్ అవుతుందంటే విత్ హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ ది సెలక్షన్ లైన్. వెన్ యూ ప్లేస్ ఇన్ ద సెలక్షన్ లైన్స్ యాజ్ 001, so the address line, the data in the address lines will be placed in the address bus. How it is placed? So it is fetched from the memory. It is fetched from the memory and placed it into the address register, and then it is stored into the address register value. How it is storing? సో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ నాకు ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ కి ఒక ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వాలి. ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ యొక్క అడ్రస్ ఏమో మన యొక్క అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ లో ఉంటుంది. దానికి మెమరీ నుంచి వస్తుంది అనమాట. సో ఈ మెమరీలో ఉన్న డేటా యొక్క అడ్రస్ ని, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 5, లెట్ us టేక్ 5. ఓకే. సో ఆ 5 యొక్క అడ్రస్ అనేది మనకి ఈ మెమరీ యూనిట్ లో ఉంటుంది. సో మెమరీ ఆల్రెడీ ఐ హావ్ సెడ్ ఏ మెమరీ ఇస్ ఏ కాంబినేషన్ ఆఫ్ డేటా యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ ఇట్స్ అడ్రసెస్. డేటా యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ ఇట్స్ అడ్రస్. డేటా దాంతో పాటు దానికి అడ్రస్ రెండు కలిపి మెమరీలో ఉంటుంది. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే నా అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ అనేది ఈ యొక్క మెమరీలో ఉన్న ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఆ యొక్క ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ యొక్క అడ్రస్ ని ఫైండ్ చేయాలి. సో ఫస్ట్ ఇట్ సెండ్స్ ద సిగ్నల్ టు దట్ మెమరీ రిజిస్టర్ టు ఫైండ్ ద అడ్రస్ లొకేషన్. సో ఎప్పుడైతే అడ్రస్ లొకేషన్ ఫైండ్ అయిందో, సో ఈ మెమరీ యూనిట్ అనేది ఈ యొక్క బస్ లోకి ఆ అడ్రస్ ని ప్లేస్ చేస్తుంది. ఎలా ప్లేస్ చేస్తుంది? ఈ దిస్ బస్ విల్ మేక్ ద ఆపరేషన్స్ S0, S1, S2 as 111 because the output is 7. If you want to get this line active, ఇక్కడ ఉన్న ఈ అవుట్పుట్ లైన్ యాక్టివ్ గా కావాలంటే ఈ బస్సు దీని యొక్క సెలక్షన్ లైన్స్ 111 చేస్తే గనక ఆటోమేటిక్ గా ఈ మెమరీ యూనిట్ ఏదైతే పాస్ చేస్తుందో అది నాకు బస్ లోకి సేవ్ అవుతుంది. సో వన్స్ ద బస్ ఈస్ ఫిల్డ్ విత్ ద అడ్రస్, now that address value will be stored into the program counter with the help of this load signal ld equals to 1. ఈ ld equals to 1 అనేది మన యొక్క కంట్రోల్ యూనిట్ పాస్ చేస్తుంది. ఎప్పుడైతే ఈ ld equals to 1 వచ్చిందో ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ కి ఈ బస్ లో ఉన్న అడ్రస్ ఏదైతే మెమరీ యూనిట్ ఫార్వర్డ్ చేసిందో ఈ యొక్క బస్ లో ఉన్న అడ్రస్ అనేది మనకి ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ లో పాస్ అవుతుంది. నౌ the first instruction is read by the computer with the help of this program counter. What is that instruction? Now I want to place that instruction into the bus with the help of this signal line, that is 0 1 0 2. that is ఈ 2 వాల్యూ ఎప్పుడైతే యాక్టివ్ అవుతుందో ఆటోమేటిక్ గా ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ లో ఉన్న వాల్యూ నాకు ఈ యొక్క బస్ లోకి పాస్ అవుతుంది. సో నౌ ద అడ్రస్ ఇస్ స్టోర్డ్ ఇన్ టు ద బస్. నౌ వాట్ ఇస్ ద సెకండ్ స్టెప్? సో ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ అయిపోయింది, అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ అడ్రస్ ఫైండ్ అయింది, ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ లో కూడా అడ్రస్ వచ్చింది. నౌ వాట్ ఇస్ ద టాస్క్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ రిజిస్టర్? The task of the instruction register is to execute or to display what is the current instruction is. సో కరెంట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఏంటి అనేది దానికి తెలియాలి కాబట్టి దాని యొక్క అడ్రస్ ని రీడ్ చేసుకుని ఎల్డి ద్వారా మన కంట్రోల్ ఎల్డి ఫార్వర్డ్ చేసిన ద్వారా ఈ యొక్క ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ రిజిస్టర్ లో మన ఈ యొక్క ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ యొక్క అడ్రస్ అనేది లోడ్ అవుతుంది. సో వెన్ ఎవర్ దిస్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ రిజిస్టర్ ఇస్ లోడ్ విత్ అడ్రస్, నౌ ద టాస్క్ ఆఫ్ డేటా రిజిస్టర్ విల్ బి యాక్టివ్. సో దట్ మీన్స్ ఈ యొక్క ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ లో ఏదైతే డేటా ఉందో, ఈ యొక్క అడ్రస్ లో ఏదైతే డేటా ఉందో 5, ఆ 5 అనేది మనకి మెమరీ సిస్టమ్ అనేది మళ్ళా మనకి ఈ బస్ లో ప్లేస్ చేస్తుంది. ఈ బస్ ద్వారా మనకి ఆ 5 వచ్చి డేటా రిజిస్టర్ లోకి ప్లేస్ అవుతుంది. నౌ ఇనిషియలీ the first data is stored in the data register. Now what I want to do, I want to multiply that 5 with 6. So 6 అనే దాన్ని నేను మల్టిప్లై చేయాలి. Now what I am doing, I am placing the data from the data register into the accumulator. Why? Because the accumulator is connected with the ALU. సో మనకి ఏదన్నా ఎడిషన్, సబ్ట్రాక్షన్, మల్టిప్లికేషన్, లాజికల్ ఆపరేషన్స్ అండ్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఎనీ షిఫ్ట్ ఆపరేషన్ చేయాలంటే కంపల్సరీ మనం అక్యుములేటర్ ద్వారానే చేయాలి. వీ కెనాట్ పర్ఫార్మ్ విత్ హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ ఎనీ అదర్ రిజిస్టర్స్. మనకున్న అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ కానీ, ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ కానీ, డేటా రిజిస్టర్ కానీ, ఇన్పుట్ రిజిస్టర్ కానీ, టెంపరీ రిజిస్టర్ కానీ మనకి ఈ ఏఎల్యూ ఆపరేషన్ చేస్తాకి పనికిరావు. వీ వాంట్ యూజ్ ఓన్లీ అక్యుములేటర్. అక్యుములేటర్ ఇస్ ద బేసిక్ పర్పస్ రిజిస్టర్ విచ్ ఆర్ యూజ్డ్ విత్ ఏఎల్యూ. నౌ వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు డూ, ఐ వాంట్ టు ప్లేస్ దట్ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ 5. ఈ యొక్క డేటా రిజిస్టర్ లో ఉన్న వాల్యూ 5 నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే ఐ విల్ ప్లేస్ ఇన్ అలాంగ్ విత్ ఏఎల్యూ అండ్ టు ద అక్యుములేటర్. సో అక్యుములేటర్ లోకి నేను పాస్ చేస్తాను. సో 5 అనేది మనకి అక్యుములేటర్ లోకి స్టోర్ అయింది. నౌ ఐ వాంట్ టు స్టోర్ ద 6 ఇన్ టు ద డేటా రిజిస్టర్. సేమ్ ప్రాసెస్ మనకి నెక్స్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ 6 నేను లోడ్ చేసుకుని ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ ద్వారా ఈ మెమరీ లో నుంచి ఆ 6 వాల్యూని తీసుకొచ్చి నేను డేటా రిజిస్టర్ లో ప్లేస్ చేసుకుంటున్నాను. సో ఒక వాల్యూ ఒక అక్యుములేటర్ లో నాకు ఇనిషియల్ గా 5 ఉంది, ఇంకొక వాల్యూ డేటా రిజిస్టర్ లో 6 ఉంది. సో నౌ వాట్ ALU విల్ డూ ఇస్ ALU will do the addition operation. Whatever the addition is getting 6 ఏదైతే వస్తుందో దాన్ని నేను అక్యుములేటర్ లో 5 తో మల్టిప్లై చేసి what is the output I will get? I will get the output as 30. 5 into 6 as 30. So that 30 is placed in the bus, data bus. సో మనకున్న ఈ యొక్క బస్ లో ఆ 30 అనే వాల్యూ ప్లేస్ అవుతుంది. సో అగైన్ ఫైనలీ that 30 will be again storing into the data register if want, or it is storing again back into the bus and again storing into the memory. So this is the way how it's a circular way how number of instructions are going to be executed. Is it clear? Is it clear how were instructions going to be executed between the registers? సో మనకి ఈ మొత్తం ఉన్న రిజిస్టర్స్ లో బేసిక్ రిజిస్టర్ ఆర్ బేసిక్ కాంపోనెంట్ ఏంటంటే ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్. ఇదే మనకి ఫస్ట్ మనకి ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఎక్కడ స్టార్ట్ చేయాలి, ఎక్కడ ఏ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ మనం ఫస్ట్ ఇనిషియల్ గా ఇనిషియేట్ చేయాలి అనేది మనకి హెల్ప్ అవుతుంది. అండ్ ఈ యొక్క అన్ని రిజిస్టర్స్ కి కూడా లోడ్ సిగ్నల్స్ అనేవి కూడా చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఈ లోడ్ సిగ్నల్స్ ఏం చేస్తాయి అంటే డేటా బస్ మనకున్న ఈ బస్ కాంపోనెంట్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఈ బస్ లో ఉన్న డేటాని అది లోడ్ చేసుకుంటానికి హెల్ప్ అవుతుంది. అలాగే ఈ యొక్క రిజిస్టర్ లో నుంచి బస్ లోకి మనం లోడ్ చేయాలంటే ఈ సెలక్షన్ లైన్స్ అనేవి ఇంపార్టెంట్. S0, S1, S2 అనేది ఇంపార్టెంట్. వీటిని బేస్ చేసుకునే ఈ రేషియోలో ఉన్న డేటా అనేది మనకి బస్ లోకి రీచ్ అవుతుంది. అండ్ వాట్ అబౌట్ దిస్ అవుట్పుట్ రేషియోస్ అండ్ ఇన్పుట్ రేషియోస్? సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నేను ఇక్కడ 5, 6 అనేది మెమరీ నుంచి తీసుకున్నాను. అలా కాకుండా నేను కీబోర్డ్ నుంచి తీసుకోవాలి. ఐ వాంట్ టు టేక్ ద డేటా ఫ్రమ్ ద కీబోర్డ్. So what I want to do, I want to store that 5 and 6 values into the input register, and from the input register it passes to the accumulator. So there is no need of fetching the data from the memory component, or there is no need of fetching the data from the program counters or another else. So we will take the data directly from the input register, as well as we want to print the data. If you want to print any data, ఏదైతే మనకి 30 వాల్యూ మనకి బస్ లో ప్లేస్ అయిందో ఆ 30 వాల్యూ డైరెక్ట్ గా నేను అవుట్పుట్ రిజిస్టర్ లో పాస్ చేసుకుని సో నా యొక్క అవుట్పుట్ డివైస్ లోకి ఫార్వర్డ్ చేసి నేను ప్రింట్ చేసుకుంటాను. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద వే how we can transfer the data from different registers inside our computer. So this is one of the example of common bus system which is connected with the different registers inside our CPU. Is it clear? can also just try to implement some other example in the same way. So take some other expression, take some other mathematical operation and try to execute it. So you will get to understand clearly. And mostly we want to look about what is the size of the bus. So the size of the bus must be depending upon the memory size. Whatever the memory we are using, based upon that memory only, the size will be dependent, the bus size will be dependent. And similarly, the registers. So already we have seen the last previous classes what is size of the register. Always remember the data register is depending upon the bus size, that is data bus size. Similarly, accumulator is also depending upon the bus size. And what happens here? సో ఇక్కడ మనం ఇందాక చెప్పుకున్నట్టు బస్ లో ఈ డేటా అంతా కూడా రేషియో డేటా అంతా కూడా ప్లేస్ అవుతుందని చెప్పాం. సో ఇక్కడ నేను ఏంటంటే ఈ బస్ అనేది 16 బిట్ తీసుకున్నాను. ఇక్కడ 16 బిట్ కామన్ బస్ తీసుకున్నాను. సో 16 బిట్ కామన్ బస్ లో మూడు కూడా 16 బిట్సే ఉంటాయి. అడ్రస్ బస్సు 16 బిట్టే ఉంటుంది, డేటా బస్సు 16 బిట్టే ఉంటుంది, కంట్రోల్ బస్సు 16 బిట్టే ఉంటుంది. కానీ మనకి ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది, అడ్రస్ అనేది అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ లో అడ్రస్ అనేది ఓన్లీ 12 బిట్సే ఉంది. అలాగే ప్రోగ్రామ్ కౌంటర్ లో కూడా 12 బిట్సే ఉంటాయి. ఎందుకంటే సైజ్ వచ్చేసరికి ఒక్కొక్క మన యొక్క వర్డ్ సైజ్ 4096 కాబట్టి ఒక్కొక్క వర్డ్ యొక్క అడ్రస్ 12 బిట్స్ మట్టికే ఉంటాయి అనమాట. సో అప్పుడు మనం ఎలా దాన్ని ప్లేస్ చేయాలి? ఆల్వేస్ రిమెంబర్ ద అడ్రస్ బిట్స్ ఆర్ ప్లేస్డ్ ఎట్ ద ఎల్ఎస్బి, లీస్ట్ సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ బిట్స్. ఎల్ఎస్బి ఎంఎస్బి అంటారు, ఐడియా ఉందా? ఎంఎస్బి ఎల్ఎస్బి, మోస్ట్ సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ బిట్స్, లీస్ట్ సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ బిట్స్. ఓకే, మనకి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లెట్ us టేక్ ఒక 8 బిట్ తీసుకున్నాం అనుకోండి. 8 బిట్ లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ ఉన్న అన్నిటి కూడా ఎల్ఎస్బి అంటాం, రైట్ సైడ్ ఉన్న అన్నిటిని కూడా ఎంఎస్బి అంటాం. ఓకే, మనకున్న ఫస్ట్ 8 బిట్ లో ఉన్న ఫస్ట్ 4 బిట్స్ తీసుకుంటే కనుక వాటిని ఎల్ఎస్బి అంటాం. లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ నుంచి 0th బిట్, ఫస్ట్ బిట్, సెకండ్ బిట్, థర్డ్ బిట్ ఉంటాయి కదా, వీటిని ఎల్ఎస్బి అంటాం. అండ్ 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th బిట్ ని మనం ఎంఎస్బి అంటాం. సో ఏం చేయాలంటే ఇక్కడ ఉన్న 16 బిట్ కామన్ బస్ లో మనం అడ్రస్ ని ఎలా ప్లేస్ చేయాలంటే మన యొక్క అడ్రస్ వాల్యూని ఎల్ఎస్బి పొజిషన్ లో ప్లేస్ చేయాలి, ఎంఎస్బిస్ లో జీరోస్ పెట్టుకోవాలి. ఓకే, అప్పుడు మనకి టోటల్ గా 16 బిట్స్ కవర్ అవుతాయి. సో డోంట్ ప్లేస్ MSB values as address bits. So we want to place LSB values as address bits and remaining bits as a zeros. So now our 16-bit common bus will be filled. So this is the way how we can place the address inside a 16-bit common bus. Okay now? Any doubts? And what about E? What about E here? So E అనేది ఏంటి? సో ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇక్కడ 5 into 6 30. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ నాకు ఎటువంటి అడిషనల్ క్యారీ రాలేదు. అలా కాకుండా నేను 1+1 చేశాను. That is binary values 1+1 చేశాను. What I will get? So if it is 1+1, I will get 0, 1, that as a 2. I will get 0, 1 as a 2. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది, ఒక బిట్ అడిషనల్ గా వచ్చింది. సో ఆ అడిషనల్ గా వచ్చిన క్యారీ బిట్ ని ఏం చేస్తామంటే ఇక్కడ ఉన్న ఈ దీన్నే మనం extended flip flop అంటాం. E stands for extended flip flop. We will store the extended values into that extended flip flop for the future purpose, for any future increments. సో మీరు షిఫ్ట్ ఆపరేషన్స్ లెఫ్ట్ షిఫ్ట్ రైట్ షిఫ్ట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఒక బిట్ మూవ్ అయ్యి ఆ ఒక బిట్ అనేది ఎలిమినేట్ అవుతుంది. సో అలా ఎలిమినేట్ అయిన బిట్స్ అన్ని కూడా ఇక్కడ ఉన్న ఎక్స్టెండెడ్ ఫ్లిప్ ఫ్లాప్ లోకి స్టోర్ అవుతుంది అనమాట. సో ద ALU విల్ సెండ్ ద ఎక్స్టెండెడ్ వాల్యూస్ టు ద flip of that is the E values of the flips. That is our extended bit values to the extended flip flop of our CPU. Okay, this is about the common bus system for the registers.